we've looked at the components of an Arabic sentence, haven't we? There are three. What are they? Nouns, verbs, particles. And so now we've been exposed to some Arabic words. Now the next thing is, when these words come together, they create what? Sentences. But in Arabic, we've got two types of sentence. What are they? Noun sentences and, go on Shaheen, verb sentences. Whilst in English, we only have verb sentences. Okay? We have to have a verb in a sentence in English. In Arabic, we can have a sentence without a verb. Okay? So I'm going to give you an example here. Muhammadun Nabiyyun. How do I translate that sentence? Go, Muhammad, go, well done. Muhammad is a prophet. Okay. Now you'd look at that, you think it just says Muhammad, prophet. Yeah. But that's obviously not a sentence. Okay? So in Arabic, when we translate, we have to put fillers in. Does that make sense? What are we adding here? Is this a particle? We have to add the verb to be. So a noun sentence in Arabic is a verb, is an is sentence in English. A noun sentence in Arabic is an is sentence in English. It's got is, am or are in it. Okay? And then obviously you're adding yeah, this particle because all nouns are considered indefinite if they don't have al. Okay? Obviously Muhammad's a name, so it's not going to have before it. Okay, so that's how we translate it. Well done. Okay? So the most difficult thing about noun sentences are, where does the is go? Where does the is go? Okay, so what I want to do, I want to throw you straight in the deep end. Okay? And the next exercise. What exercise number is it? And I want you to translate those sentences. Now listen to me. The first 4 or so are not too tricky. The last ones are tricky, they're supposed to. I'm just exposing you to the different structures. As long as you understand the first 3 or 4, I'm happy. Tasneem, yeah. Ladies, so go through them. Go on. This is a book. Did everyone get that one? Yeah. So it's not, some people might say it's this book. But here's the key, guys. Listen to this. This is a key rule. After the first word, generally, this is a general rule, it's not always the case though. After the first word, if there's no al, that's where the is goes. Okay? So after hair there, does the word after it have al? No, so that's where the is goes. Okay, obviously this one's an obvious example, but it's going to get trickier. That's a general rule. It's not. It's just a guide when you get stuck. Okay, and it'll be very useful for the next exercise. Okay, so this is a book. Everyone happy? Dildar, the next one. Oh, good. Now look this way. He said the Muslim great, or someone might have said the great Muslim. But however, we've got al-Muslim, so the Muslim, that's definitely the Muslim. Is there an al on the next word after? No. So the is has to go there. So what's it going to be now? There's your answer. Yeah? That's going to be a guide for us, because noun sentences can get really complex. I mean, there's some that are really complex. Zulaykha, the next one. The Quran is great. Yeah, not the great Quran, because there's no al on great, is there? On the azim, there's no al, so that's where the is goes. Okay, Sonia, next one. Allah is the beneficent, whatever you said. Yeah, if you said all merciful, beneficent, as long as you know it's mercy, I'm happy. Okay, so Allah is the great, the merciful, sorry, is the merciful, the all merciful, or the beneficent, or the compassionate, or the tender, you know, whatever you're going to say. Is everyone happy with that? Now you say, well, you said where there's no al, if there's an al, that is can't go there. But that's when it's obviously when there's a confusion. Obviously the is has to go here because it can't go after it. Well, that would be Allah the Merciful, and then we're waiting for more information, aren't we? Okay, and it could translate as that, Allah the Merciful, but then we need more information. Okay, but so we just with this is a complete sentence, so we need an is there. Shaheen, the next one. What's the next one? Okay, what did you say? And I've asked Shaheen, I asked her to give me, I want the literal translation. I don't want this mod. Okay?
Give it literal, I have to...
So what? So al means what? The. Hamd?
Praise.
So the praise?
Belongs.
Yeah, that's correct, but I want a more literal translation. Because we need an is.
Is to.
The praise is, go on.
Is to.
Fantastic. Okay? So this confuses people. You see this? That is Allah, and what's before it? Li. And it looks really weird because when you add Li to Allah, actually you lose a letter. Which is really weird if you think about it. But that's how it is. Yeah, you can't technique Allah. Yeah, Allah always does something that makes you, confuses you. So Li means for. So literally the praise is for Allah or to Allah. Whatever one. Okay, that's fine. Is everyone happy with that? Okay, obviously there's other ways to translate that, but we'll deal with that later. At the moment I just want literal translations. Okay, Shahida? This one's tricky. Lord is the owner of the day of judgment. Okay. Now this sentence is complicated. There's things in here that we're going to do far later. I was just throwing things in. So Rabbi, when you say ya on the end, that means well done. My Lord. Rabbi, that ya on the end means my. You don't need to know that yet. Okay. Rabbi, my Lord. There's your is. Okay. So here's the rule. The is always goes after the subject of the sentence. And this is going to become important for the next exercise when we look at subjects and news. So my Lord is the owner. And you're saying, why the owner? There's no al on it. But that's a rule we're going to do far later, so don't worry about that. Okay. My Lord is the owner of the day of. Yeah, now we said Dean's a difficult one, isn't it? So usually translate it, the judgment. Okay. Is the owner of the day of the judgment. Okay, which we usually say day of judgment. But Dean, we said, obviously, what does Dean mean, literally? It means you're bound by a system. Okay, so on the day of judgment, we're all bound by a system. We can't escape it. We were all, if you did good, you get good. If you did bad, you get bad. We're all following one system. Okay, is that clear? Right, next point then, okay? Okay, I said we're going to break these up, so you get 1 minute break. I said if you need to stretch off, sometimes your bodies need to relax and get up and move around. So stretch it if you need to. She's an honorary Keighleyite. Yeah. Is Bingley considered a part of Keighley? Are there more Muslims living in Bingley these days? Are there more Muslims living in Bingley these days? They haven't got a mosque yet, have they? I've never been the imam of a mosque. Right, time. You ready? Right, all fresh and ready for the next bit. So we said this is a noun sentence. Yeah, is goes between the words. Now we've got now noun sentences are divided into two parts. We have the subject and we have the news. Okay? Yeah, predicate we call it. Well done. Okay? Now, what does that mean? The subject generally is the first word of the sentence. But not necessarily, but that's a guide. Most of the time, 75% of the time it'll be this one. And it's generally definite. Okay? Whilst the object is generally indefinite. And between the subject and the news, what will be there? Is. Well done. Now, so how do you know if it's a subject? It's a thing we're ready to say. If I walked into Sainsbury's tonight, and I've got this habit, I don't know about you, when I'm in supermarkets, I read a newspaper. Do you do this? I don't buy newspapers. I just flick through the first, there's Keighley News. Okay, do you do this? I flick through the first 5, Okay, I'm waiting for some guy to say, excuse me, sir, you're going to buy that? Yeah. So I flick through it, and imagine, Sonia, I'm walking through Sainsbury's and I see it just says Tasneem on the top front. It says Tasneem as the headline. What are you going to want to know? How on earth did he end up in a newspaper? What is the... So that's the subject. Does that make sense? That bit that leads you on to want to know, then what about it? So that's the news. The subject's like a headline of a newspaper, and then the rest of the information is the news about what it is. Okay? So it leads you on to want to know about it. Does that make sense?
Did you say it always comes at the beginning of the sentence?
Not necessarily, no. Yeah, not necessarily. Most of the time, I mean, I've got some tricky examples. The ones at the end are very tricky. Okay, the ones at the beginning are generally straightforward. So you've got to basically translate these next sentences and then decide which one's the subject and which one is the news. And I want you to start noticing the vowel endings on the words as well, picking up on this. Okay, off you go. If you do the first one, Azra, could you do the first one for us? Which is, what is it? Muhammadun Rasulun. What did you get for that one? Muhammad is? Yeah, there's no al on it. So Muhammad is a messenger. Which one's the subject, would you say, Azra? Muhammad, yeah. And we say, so I say to you, remember we said about the aunties in the room, you go and you say Muhammad. And now they want more information. So you say, so that's always going to be the news. Muhammad is a messenger, not prophet. A number of people have done this. Remember, Rasul is to do with a message. Risala. Okay, this is have you heard this word? Risalat. I think you've got this word in Urdu. Risala means, do you know what it means? A message. So Rasul is the messenger. Okay. Next one. هذا نبي. Shahida. This is a prophet. What's the news? Oh, sorry, what's the subject? So she says the subject is prophet. Do you agree? She's wrong. This. Now I understand where she's coming from. Because you're thinking prophet, that's clear what it is. But however, look, Shahida, this, and now I want to give you the gossip about it, is a prophet. So generally the first word is going to be the subject. Generally the first word is going to be the subject. Then you've got your news. But we're going to see that's not the case with some of these. Now this one was a bit strange. Shaheen, you did really well, but you had a valid question there. How did you translate it? Al-Islamu dinun.
Literally what I thought was the Islam, the religion, okay.
So go on, we'll do it like that. The Islam... It doesn't matter, go for it. The Islam is the religion? Has deen got al before? A religion, yeah. The Islam is a religion. Now, we've got a rule in Arabic. We're going to do this later, so don't worry your heads too much about it. We have these redundant als with people's names. Okay? So we don't say the Islam. Even you'll hear some speakers, they say al-Islam. Okay? But in English, I'll give you some examples. In Arabic, his name is actually Al-Hassan, Al-Hussein, Al-Yazid. But when we actually translate them, what do we say? Hassan, go on, Hussein and Yazid. We don't say the al, but that's his name. We make it redundant, and that's like al-Islam, okay? We'll do this later, so don't worry too much about it. But in Arabic, it's al-Islam. We don't say Islam, okay? So Islam is a religion. Where's the subject? What are we talking about? What's the conversation? Islam's the topic of the conversation. And now what about Islam?
It's a religion.
It's a religion. That's your news. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Asanya, Allahu Rabbi. Allah is my Lord. Yeah, that ya on the end means my. Okay, we haven't studied that yet, so it's not a Lord, it's my Lord because that ya on the end. You say, well, there's no al on the beginning of it. Yeah, but it's my Lord. We're going to study this later, don't worry too much. Where's the subject? And where's the news? Yeah, so we say Allah. What about Allah? He's my Lord. Okay? Is everyone okay with that? Yep, next one. Azulekha. هذا القرآن العظيم. This one's a little tricky. This Quran is great. Do you agree with her? What's that rule I told you about where the is goes?
This Quran is the great.
Well, good. Now I understand all the confusion here. Well done. What did I say about al? Sorry, what did I say about is? It goes where there is no al. Now in this sentence, where is there no al? Huh? There is none. So we've got to try to guess now where it goes. So now, because azim is actually an adjective, we're going to study this later. It goes actually between. It can go. What you've done's right. Okay. It can be two ways. It can be translated twice, two different ways. It can be translated as "This is the great Quran." That's one way of translating it. This is the great Quran. And you say, oh, how do you know that? You're going to study this. But I'm just showing you what's possible in Arabic structures. Or it could translate as?
This Quran is great.
No, not that. This great Quran, and it's not finished the sentence. This great Quran is from Allah, for example. Okay? So that's where the is goes. Don't you worry your little cotton socks about this. You're not expected to know that right now. I'm just showing you how complicated a noun sentence can get, because sometimes it's not clear where the is goes. So from, like, for example, from 5 down to 9, you're not expected to know this stuff. Okay. Next one. Anta ala siratim mustaqim. Tasneem?
So on number 5.
Yeah?
Subjective.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Yeah, what's the subject? Suleika, what did you say? No. This. Always, the subject is what comes before is. Always, the subject is what comes before is. So this is, what is it? The great Quran. So that's the information about this. This thing right here is the great Quran. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Next one, Artistim.
Okay, Anta ala siratim mustaqim. You are on straight path.
You are on a straight path, yeah? Because there's no al on the sirat. You are on a straight path. What's the subject?
Anta
Yes, you. Well done. Where's the news?
ala siratim mustaqim.
Yeah, so now the news is a number of words. It's not just one word. You, what about you? Are on a straight path. That's all the gossip now about you. Okay? So the news can be a number of words. It's not necessarily one word. And that on a straight path, in the Quran, when it's indefinite like that, it means a great, like an amazing path as well. You know, like in English, for example, we say, what a goal. We use it indefinite, don't we? It's specific. I'm saying that's a goal there. He scored the goal, but you say, what a goal. It's as if you big it up. Allah, when He uses things indefinite in the Quran, it means to really make it magnificent. So when Allah says, for example, إِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيم, very famous verse about the Prophet ﷺ, you are on a great character. It means a character. Okay, and I'm going to repeat this stuff. Don't worry about this sort of stuff. The next one. This is a little tricky, this one. Okay, Dildar, did you get this one? No, you didn't get, okay. Azla, did you get this one? Now, that's a literal translation. The day is, you said the judgment day, didn't you? But let's put an of, you're not expected to know this yet, but the day is the day of judgment. I would have put it like that. But that's not wrong what you said, it's exactly right. It's just to keep the structure of the words. The day is the day of judgment. Now the day, no problem, it's correct, but there's another way you could translate the day. Does anyone know? If you've got al before day, it can also translate as today. Well done. Today is the day of judgment. Both are correct. Because when you're speaking about the day, you're speaking about a specific day. And most times when we're speaking about the day, what are we speaking about? The one right in front of us, which is today. Okay. But as I said, it's not necessary to translate it like that. But that's usually what it translates as. Where's the subject?
The day.
Yeah, we're speaking about the day. What about the day? What about it? It's the day of judgment. So the day of judgment is the news. It's the news, yeah. Now these two are really tricky. Okay? Shahida, go on.
Okay,
In the world, yeah?
is you and I.
Is you and I. Brilliant. In the world is you and I. Where's the subject?
In.
Who are we talking about? You and I. You and I is a subject. Okay? I flipped the order. So we all in the other examples, the first word is the subject, isn't it? But here, it's the other way round. Because if you've got a particle, a subject cannot have a particle before it. Here's a rule. The subject of the sentence cannot have a particle before it. And alam's got a particle before it. What's it got before it? Where's the particle? Fi. Fi's a particle. You can't have a particle before a subject. Okay? So that's the object. Not the object, sorry, the news. Okay, so in the world is you and I. Okay? Next one. Similar structure. Shaheen, what you get?
This is a book.
Fantastic. This is really tricky, this one. On this is a book. Okay? On this thing right here, obviously a table or so, it's referring to, so on this thing right here, there is a book. Is a book. Where's the subject? Yeah, the book, or a book. What's the news? On the table. Okay, go on, Tasneem.
Are we saying on this? So we're talking about this?
Yeah, this thing, and we all know what we're referring to here. So on this thing here, on this, there's a book.
We're talking about this thing, though, aren't
Yeah, which is that?
we? That's subject.
No. Listen to Tasneem's question. He says, look, we're all focusing on this, so why is that not the subject? Okay? The rule here is, if something, and we're going to do this again later, so don't worry, when you have a preposition before a word, it can't be the subject, impossible.
It's a rule then.
Yeah, that's a rule. Okay? I understand what he's saying. It seems like the focus is on this. Yeah? But it's not the case. Don't worry, you little cotton socks, about that. We're going to do that far later. As long as you understand the basic premise that was subject, that's all you need to know. We're going to do this in later chapters, this stuff. The whole purpose of this chapter is just to expose you to structures and leave you a little bit, there's a lot to learn here. And I do that on purpose, because you know when you don't really get things, it niggles in the back of your mind, so that when you eventually come to it, you actually got more passion to learn about it, because, I remember that and I want to know about it. It's a technique they do in learning. In Arabic, when I was in Morocco, they did that a lot. Okay, now, it's time now, so even in the other classes, I didn't get to this bit, okay? We're going to do this in the revision session, okay? It's just a basic bit. It's about the verb sentence, which we're going to do far later. It's just exposing you to the verb sentence. Please do that before the revision session. And in the revision session, we're going to be going through the chapter recap, okay? One student actually recommended, they said they actually do this before they do all the other stuff. They said they just find it actually helps, the breakdown of all the stuff. So that might help you. If it doesn't help you, don't do it. But basically, this is a recap of everything. In the revision session, we will go through page 7, is it? Yeah. Page 8, and page 9, and page 10, the vocabulary. We did the vocabulary recap there. Okay? That's what we do in the revision session. For next lesson, we'll be starting the new chapter. For next lesson, Monday, we'll be starting the next chapter. You will notice at the beginning of the chapter, we do a recap of the previous chapter. So it might be useful to go over that for Monday, before Monday, not before Thursday. Okay? And then just to read, we will get no further. Next lesson, we will get no further than page 21. Exercise 1 is as far as we will get. And next lesson is a far easier, slower lesson. Honestly, it's not as challenging as all this. This is very challenging, what we've done. So don't worry. Give yourself a pat on the back if you've grasped 75% of it. Okay. So basically, next lesson, we will not get further than 21. We'll do exercise 1. That's it. Okay. And it's quite straightforward. And so that's where it'd be useful to go through, look at it before the chapter. Okay? Any questions?
But do we have more than one subject in a sentence, the long sentence?
No. We can have more. I understand what you mean. We can. There's certain structures that could be the whole subject. Yes. Okay. But we get to that. Okay. What we've looked at, these exercises we've done. What you've got to appreciate: the news can be before the subject. The news can be more than one word. So far, we haven't seen the subject as more than one word. It is possible. Okay. But we do that far later. Okay. Any questions other than that? Is everyone happy? So go through it within 48 hours. Go through this, what we've done today. Okay. You only need to know the basics. You don't need to know a lot of the complicated stuff. You're not expected to know that. Just a simple thing. There's 2 types of sentence in Arabic. What are they? Noun sentences and verbs. A noun sentence in Arabic, when you translate it, what do we need in it? Is. We need the verb to be. Is, am, are. Okay? And then there are 2 components to a noun sentence. Subject and news. That's all you need to know. Okay? That's all that's expected of you. And then go over your vocabulary. Use no apps just to reinforce your vocabulary and notice which ones you struggle with. Okay? And to try to find some techniques to remember them. Okay? Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta.